So we had a look about basics of Aurelia, what it's all about with the introduction and overview. But before starting with the environmental setup, it is important to understand some of the basic concepts of Aurelia. So Aurelia JS has something which is like important, and it is like prior for understanding the environmental setup, it is important for developers to get to know what are the basic concepts. Say it's like Aurelia CLI and JSPM. So sometimes the hardest part of learning a new framework is getting started. It can be daunting when looking at all the ways to do things. Aurelia comes ready with a lot of implementation and tries to allow developers to pick the route that supports their programming design or say programming paradigm. We will take a look at all the options that are currently available. So how the environmental setup can be done. So basically there are two ways. So we'll have a basic look of that, like how we can do it. However, along with the minimal number of questions of how things can be achieved. In order to follow that, we will take first thing, I would like to say there are certain prerequisites. First is like having a proper code editor. So as usual, we'll have a system like a code editor, let it be Sublime Text or Visual Studio Code Editor. And the next package which is important is Node.js and a Git client. Your system should have Git system installed in it. It's like your system should have that Git software with Git CMD, that is the Git client. So please ensure that Git is installed in your machine. And the next thing which is important is to install the set of commands with respect to Aurelia. One more thing when it comes to browser support. Aurelia works well with all modern browsers, say it for Google Chrome, say it for Mozilla, so it supports all browsers. So throughout this course, we will be using Google Chrome as our default browser for both rendering and debugging our Aurelia applications. So when it comes to code listings, we will be using Visual Studio Code Editor. Now moving on to Aurelia CLI. Aurelia CLI is a command line interface that allows you to configure the application with simple commands. So for installation of Aurelia CLI, there is a command that is npm install -g Aurelia CLI. We'll have a look later when we'll focus on the environmental setup. So before starting with the setup, I would like to say this is a command line interface that allows you to configure your application, or the best way I can say, it has the inbuilt configuration of the basic Aurelia application and the folder structure. That is important. After that, the next thing which is important to understand is JSPM. This is the alternative way of installing Aurelia. So I would like to say that JSPM is a basic framework. It's like a JavaScript package manager in another means for configuring and setting up the Aurelia project. Before getting started, you need to ensure that the skeleton project is there in your system, and the JSPM always works with the git command prompt. So JavaScript package manager, that is JSPM, is another means for configuring and setting up your Aurelia project. Now let's get started with the installation process. So now I'll focus you what is the official website for Aurelia. Then we will do the Node.js, understanding of Node.js and npm package manager installation. After that, we'll create a directory for Aurelia application. Following that, we'll have the set of commands, and then we will run the Aurelia application. This will complete the procedure for the environmental setup, or I can say the basic environmental setup of Aurelia application. This is the official website for Aurelia, that is aurelia.io. So here only it is mentioned is a JavaScript client framework for web, mobile and desktop that leverages simple conventions to empower your creativity. It includes various set of guides and documentations. The guides focus about various type of the tutorials, fundamentals and what are needed for Aurelia application, and APIs is nothing but the application programming interfaces, includes various type of the API functions which are required for Aurelia applications. Now let's focus on the installation procedure. For that, I have created in desktop and basic application that is called as the Aurelia app. So what we are going to do is like we will take a git command interface. So here I'll take a git command interface because your Aurelia application gives the best support with respect to git command. That is very important. So what I'll do, I'll just go to my desktop. Okay, in my desktop, I'm going to create a folder name Aurelia app. And here I'm going to follow certain rules. And prior to that, it is important that you should keep it live. We need npm package manager, or we can say npm installation procedure. For that, what we need is that we should go to our npm install documentation or the node package manager website, or I can say the official node.js website, that is nodejs.org. Here you can see there is a download option for the Windows, like we have the latest version, that is 8.9.1, and there is also a current version, that is 9.2.0. I have already taken this. The only thing is that you need to click on the particular link which is needed, and automatically the msi.msi file will be installed. For my system, npm is already installed. So I'll just go to my command prompt and follow certain set of rules. If your node package manager or node.js is not installed, you just have to download the exact version what is needed with respect to your system and install it properly. My system is focused on Windows 10, but if it comes to Ubuntu or Mac system, then you have to focus the installation as per the requirement. So now let's moving on to our git command prompt. So here we will follow certain basic steps. So let's have a look in our slide, like what is the basic command which is needed for installation of an Aurelia application. So we are done with Node.js and npm. We created a directory named Aurelia application. After that, the command which is important for creating an Aurelia application is npm install -g Aurelia CLI. So we'll follow this command over there, and let's see what is the procedure, how much time does it take for creating the particular node package manager of Aurelia project. So I'll just do npm install -g Aurelia.CLI and just put a. It will take certain time because it is just installing whatever the packages is required. If it's required, we did one thing over here, is like we can create it inside the Aurelia app. So I'll just terminate it because we missed out this functionality of creating a folder structure inside Aurelia app. Now I'll call for this command npm install -g Aurelia CLI. And just it will start the procedure. So it keeps all the functionalities and just checks out because it is the node package manager. So it will follow the installation procedure in the way it is needed. So it takes certain while. So we'll take a while because whatever the functionalities it is related with respect to Aurelia application, all will be included inside your application structure. Basically it will be the webpack. So it completes one thing. It gives the output like updated package in so-called seconds. After this, what is important to do is that you just have to say au new, which means I'm going to create a new project. You can very well see there is something which is coming in your screen that is representing Aurelia CLI, which means that the package has been successfully downloaded. Now my project name would be demo. Now after that it asks that what kind of project it would be. Will it be a default ES Next, that is the ES project, or it would be a default TypeScript project, or with some customized loaders, say it for loaders, for bundlers, for transpilers, for CSS preprocessors or something. But I'll take the first one because we are creating a default project. Now it says like your project name is demo, your platform is web, your bundler is Aurelia CLI with the loaders and everything which is properly given to you. Your editor is Visual Studio Code. Now the next thing is like it asks that are you sure you want to create a project? I say yes. And again I say yes, which means that it installs all the server client and tooling dependencies needed to build the project. So I say yes. After this, it installs the project dependencies. So basically, it is a very simple procedure to keep the installation as simple as that, because you don't have to follow the typical hard and fast rule over here. So here you can see it takes a while because it is installing whatever the dependencies are required for the project. So after the complete installation, it gives a message that congratulations, your project demo has been created. Now it's time for you to start coding and create your project the way you want. So simply you have to do is that you have to go inside the project and run a new app with respect to AU run. So I'll just go inside my project, that is cd demo, and I'll just mention au run. So this will run my particular project inside the browser. So it will have a look inside my browser, like how my project will have the look and feel. Later in the next chapter, we will understand the folder structure and we will start developing our basic application. So it just does the write bundles and searches for the particular project. So my demo project is hosted in this particular localhost URL, which is given over here, that is localhost 900. So I'll just say localhost and I'll just mention 9000. So here I can see hello world, which is the basic example representation showing me that my Aurelia project has been successfully installed. So this was the basic procedure of understanding steps for the installation with respect to Aurelia. First of all, the primary thing is that you should have your Node.js and npm installed in your system. Later, you have to create a directory following with certain set of commands of Aurelia CLI, and later you will get your project installed very easily. So the environmental setup for Aurelia is quite simple and easy. Now in the next chapter, we will analyze about the folder structure, and we'll analyze about ES6 and ES7 kind of functionalities, and later we will start creating our basic first application in Aurelia. And simultaneously, we will keep on understanding what are the basics which is needed for understanding the application.